Well, holy, I think I have maybe found where Lynette Hooker is. I just did another remote viewing. It is Thursday, May 14th, 1:09 p.m. And I recorded the audio of what I was seeing. I'm going to show you in a few minutes. Wow, 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 wow. But first, before I give you the newest remote viewings on this case, I want to remind you all, especially those of you that are new here, that I said before Ashley Banfield came forward with the evidence that there were witnesses that saw activity, and we see lights that she shows us from somebody on Hubbard's Island who's got a camera, and they can see in Pat's Bay rather, the soulmate, and lights coming on and off and moving to and from the boat, and that the witnesses saw a flare go off at around 8 p.m. Well, I told you that I felt on the boat a choking and unaliving, which doesn't happen randomly if that event did not happen. And now what I was wrong about was that I thought that this would go unpunished. But the newest updates from Ashley Banfield, who's doing an incredible job in this case, they have now seized Brian Hooker's boat. He tried to scoot out of there, take the gosh GPS system off the sailboat, hired 2 people to bring the sailboat back to Florida, only to have it roll over, push over. Well, sail over. The Coast Guard coming up on those 2 men he hired to take the boat back to Florida, who took possession of it on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to Lynette Hooker's mother and Carly, her daughter. I'm going to show you brief clips of the interview Ashley did with her mother earlier today. I believe her name's Darlene. I'm so sorry. Let me check that. Yes, Darlene, sweet soul. I cried when I watched you on the interview with her this morning with Ashley. It kind of inspired me. It did. To go back in and try to find Lynette again, because I had not been able to locate where Brian took her. So in my remote viewing session today, I asked specifically what he did with Lynette's body and where he took her, and I got the friggin' answer today, finally. So also in the reporting, they are taking evidence off that boat and have taped it up like it's a crime scene now. And I had said that I didn't think there would be justice in Lynette's case with the arrest of Brian Hooker. And I am so glad it looks like I might have been wrong with this. And it looks like Ashley Banfield is right, and that we are possibly going to be heading towards a true arrest. And gosh, hope the authorities are monitoring Mr. Brian Hooker as he's traveling throughout the United States right now, incognito. I hope he's not leaving the United States, because surely in viewing his boat, the soulmate, wrapped up in crime scene tape, he must be shitting some bricks right now. Yeah, I hope he is, and I hope he does get arrested if he is proven to be guilty. But certainly the boat wrapped up in crime scene tape, seems to me they don't believe the missing wife story, and his behavior is at best suspicious. Anyways, I digress. I just wanted to remind you all that I had experienced the choking on the soulmate, that I had mentioned that they made it back to the soulmate before Ashley had those videos coming forward to prove that to be the case. So let's go through some of the updates together, and then I'm going to tell you and what I recorded in my remote viewing session I just finished 20 minutes ago here. And we're going to get on Google Map, and I'm going to look for that specific location together. So do all the YouTube things, the likes, the shares, the comments, the hypes. It really helps, please, because 68% of you watch repeatedly and don't subscribe, which is every YouTube channel's challenge, and it's free. And if you could help a girl out, that would be great. Because I'll tell you what this girl, me, got inspired about in watching Ashley Banfield and Lindsay in the Bahamas, in this case, is like, I so am wanting to get out there, boots in the ground, and help look for the missing as a psychic medium. I think it would be so much better for me and to really get to the bottom of things, because I personally believe that Ashley Banfield will at the end of the day have contributed significantly to the arrest, if there is one, of Brian Hooker. I really firmly believe that. Let me know in the comments below if you also agree that Ashley Banfield's reporting and digging and relentless journalism and reporting and investigating has uncovered the lies that will likely help investigators. So many of them. Kudos to her. It's just inspiring. It's so inspiring. I sent her an email. Hey, over here, the me that you don't know anything about. If you need anybody on the ground, because I love to travel. Sagittarius, that's what we like to do. I love to sniff around and find the truth, and it would just be, I don't want to say fun, because it's not fun covering missing people, cases of missing people. It's exactly the opposite. It's grueling, it's exhausting, excruciating, but it's rewarding. And I'm all about the truth and the justice. And so, yeah, it's inspiring me to want to head on the road when, God willing, I can afford it. So do me the favors, please, and like, share, subscribe. It's free and it helps the algorithm, helps my channel grow. Appreciate you. Now let's get into the latest news, and then I'm going to give you the location. Oh, Ashley Banfield, you one smart lady, let's just say.
Hey, everyone. I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious, and it is Mother's Day. I didn't expect to be working today on Mother's Day, but I am actually very happy to be working today on Mother's Day, and I would like to dedicate this episode to Darlene Hamlet and Carly Aylesworth on Mother's Day, because we've got big news for you and big news for them. Darlene will not be getting a call from her daughter, Lynette Hooker, to wish her a happy Mother's Day, because Lynette is missing and presumed dead in the Bahamas. And Carly will not be able to call her mom, Lynette Hooker, and wish her a happy Mother's Day for the same reason. But I will wish them a happy Mother's Day. And this gift comes courtesy of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Investigative Services, who grabbed Brian Hooker's 46-foot sloop in international waters, hooked that thing up, and towed it into America this morning. It is now evidence in a criminal investigation. And that is very bad news for one Brian Hooker, who says that his wife, Lynette, just bounced off the back of that dinghy on our way out to the boat, Soulmate. And then he proceeded to bounce right out of the Bahamas instead of staying to help look for her.
Yes, boys and girls, that could have been karma coming at its best moment, if you will. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to Brian Hooker. More importantly, to Darlene, Lynette's mother. While it's not a happy Mother's Day by any means, I heard you in your interview this morning saying it was a nice gift, a step towards justice. Happy belated Mother's Day to you and all the mothers out there who have daughters that have gone missing and they just need the answers. My heart's with you all. And Lynette Hooker and Carly today. Darlene, praying for you and for Carly, for justice for Lynette. And Lynette, may your soul and body be found, and you be brought home, and justice be served. And then the next video that Ashley Banfield reports, not only did the Coast Guard bring the boats in Listen to this.
If you have been following our Drop Dead Serious coverage of what happened to Lynette Hooker and where her husband Brian has just sort of vanished to, this is really good news. First of all, we broke the news that his yacht, his sailing yacht that he did own with Lynette, was interdicted off the coast of Florida and towed in by the United States Coast Guard and the Investigative Services Branch that has been doing an investigation, a criminal investigation into what happened to Lynette. These CGIS officers, Coast Guard Investigative Services officers, are on this case like glue. I know a bunch of podcasters have been calling them FBI. I don't know why. It is not the FBI, y'all. These guys are different and they're really, really good at this. They are like the FBI of the water. So it's their investigation and they're the ones that did something today that we saw. And I believe this may be exclusive because I'm not seeing other reporters out there. I think everybody flocked there yesterday once they saw our video of, Soulmate being towed in by the 45-foot boat, the Coast Guard boat. But today we're seeing the actual work product of what warrants do. Much like when you see a home or a car or a garage or a business being raided by federal agents, that is what happened aboard Soulmate today. So my assumption is the warrants were requested and were issued because federal agents from the United States Coast Guard Investigative Services, CGIS, you can see it on the backs of their blue shirts, CGIS, they boarded Soulmate and they raided that mother. So there were boxes and all sorts of gear coming off that boat. And the agents, as we could see from a land position, set up a table for processing said material extracted from said crime scene. And I call it a crime scene because it is officially a crime scene. How do I know that? Well, I guessed it, but also crime scene tape went up around it today, late in the day. So now officially that boat is a crime scene roped up with crime scene tape, which means they will likely go back and forth on that boat and continue to process that crime scene. So I was super interested seeing these federal agents with the blue nitrile gloves, just like all good investigators do, putting some of the equipment that they brought off board into these manila kind of brown evidence bags, the evidence envelopes. You can even see evidence across it, and then sealing them because chain of custody is everything, y'all, especially if you're going to prosecute somebody, right? If you're grabbing evidence in a criminal investigation, well, it could very likely result in, an indictment, maybe an arrest. Brian Hooker, are you watching? This is what's happening in the wake of you bouncing out of the Bahamas after your wife, according to you, bounced off the back of your dinghy in what looked to me like dead calm waters, because I've seen the video and the photographs of that exact time in that exact place at Aunt Pat's Bay off Elbow Key. And your description of the Andrea Gale storm kind of wind was bullshit.
Y'all, not only kudos to Ashley for, I really think, staying on this and, possibly bringing some evidence forward. I want to show you the clip of the boat that's now a crime scene, but I also, where they brought the boat into Fort Pierce has stirred up a lot of memories for me because my dad and mom, I don't know if you're new here and you know the story, my mom defrauded my dad by ignoring my power of attorney and leaving him with dementia alone to die with no money, no food in Florida, where they used to spend 6 months of the year in Florida, in Vero Beach, Florida, just north of Fort Pierce. And so 6 months of the year. And then my dad ended up moving there permanently on a work visa as a retired lawyer and land developer. And so Fort Pierce, where they brought that boat in, there's a mussel place where I used to eat mussels. Actually, I have a picture of it when my dad first got out of the hospital after he almost died, after what my mom did to him, with my daughter who flew down with me our last time there, right on the water, right where that bridge is, right where that boat came in Fort Pierce. So I'm feeling extremely connected to this case now, as well as I was before, but now it's like, wow, it's really close to home because I've sat at that bridge and watched bridge come in or watch boats come in eating mussels at a place. I'll show you right now in case you know Fort Pierce. And if you're from Fort Pierce and you're watching this, you can confirm this location for me. It's amazing. Let me pull it up on the map. And then I'm going to show you my remote viewing session, but not before we show you the boat wrapped in tape.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. I have some news to report to you in the Lynette Hooker case, the woman missing in the Bahamas, presumed dead, because it has been 5.5 weeks since her husband told us all this big long tale that she bounced off the back of the dinghy in rough, rough seas. But ever since then, this podcast has found so much information that absolutely destroys Brian Hooker's story, makes him out to be a big fat liar. So if he's lying about this terrible accident in what effectively we saw by video calm seas, what else is he lying about? Today at the Coast Guard station in Fort Pierce, Florida, we were able to witness agents, federal agents, getting on board Soulmate and spending hours down below, like more than 3 hours. Agents were on and off the boat and spent about 3 hours down below. Our spies were there watching and rolling video and taking pictures from the sky. And they took some important things off that boat. Like they removed a lot of evidence off that boat. We saw a lot of it being bagged up actually into evidence bags that they'd set up a table on dry dock on the shore so that they could do the processing of all of the forensic material they were taking off what is now officially a crime scene. And we can call it that. Officially now, we can call it a crime scene because there's crime scene tape that surrounds that entire boat. You can see it from the water. You can see it from the air. Soulmate is a crime scene, and it is impounded at the Fort Pierce Coast Guard station. So basically what that means is, Brian, you're not getting your boat back. I don't think forever, personally. Look, there's all sorts of rules about holding evidence. We've got a Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure, but the key word there would be unreasonable. And once there is something that has evidentiary value, those warrants extend. You can hold that stuff. And I guarantee you that whatever judge or magistrate signed off on the warrant to search and hold that boat, I believe that's going to be held until trial. Yeah, because it's a crime scene. And you may at some point see a jury going on board for a go-see. I don't know that that's going to happen. And I'll tell you this, the big caveat, Brian Hooker hasn't been charged with any crime yet. But things don't look good for Brian Hooker. Not when the feds have your boat interdicted offshore, towed in. We have exclusive pictures of the Coast Guard towing that sailing vessel into the Fort Pierce Harbor to the Coast Guard station there.
Wow, wow, wow. What amazing reporting by Ashley Banfield. Incredible. I mean, she's very inspiring. Let me show you that pier that we just saw, Fort Pierce boat, the bridge. And because I've traveled there many, many times. And then I'm going to show you some remote viewings. And my newest one, we're going to go on to Google Map. I'm going to show you where I was taken to where Brian took Lynette. Let's go. So for the last 15, 20 years of my life, we spent many, many, many months because I was a real estate agent and I could take my kids on holidays. I did a lot. And my father, like I said, retired. You can see Vero Beach right here on the island. I'll zoom in. I'll move my mug below Fort Pierce so you can see Vero Beach here. And my mom and dad lived on the island. Right here, Fort Pierce Aquarium, Indian River, Vero Beach. So yeah, Indian River, they had a lot there as well. My dad golfed there. And Fort Pierce is literally just here. There's the state park. And here's Fort Pierce. I actually had an interview. Keller Williams was trying to recruit me during COVID for a team leader job. But, I interviewed during COVID right here in the parking lot in my very first interview because it was COVID. And, looking after my dad with dementia just proved to not be a good idea. But there is, look at these bridges here. And here we are. There is this restaurant right here, 12A Boy. Y'all, if you live in the area, they've got music. It's a little off topic, I understand. They got music, and the best mussels. I mean, amazing mussels and live music, and, I had to just show that to honor my poppy because he had friends in Fort Pierce. I don't know if you could see that, I sure hope so. Um, he had friends in Fort Pierce. Let me just pull that up again just to make sure you could see. Did I lose it? Did I lose it? I'm gonna make sure. Y'all know where the boat is now. Okay, Fort Pierce. There's Port St. Lucie. Fort Pierce is right here. And those, let's see if we can find, there's the causeways and the bridges. Oh, Old Dixie Road, I know that. There, oh my God, such an on the island is just amazing over this island here. But yeah, there's the Jimmy Buffett Bridge or the South Bridge causeway. And this is where the mussels are amazing at the 12A buoy. Anyways, like I said, I digress, but I had to honor my puppy because I mean, the dozens of times my dad had been in Fort Pierce eating mussels at that place I wouldn't be able to count. So honoring my puppy. Forgive me, but I have to I gotta honor my puppy when the opportunity comes. So there it is. We just got him out of the hospital. He almost died. I got the call on my birthday, December 8th, 2019, January 31st. My daughter came to join me after what we learned. And there we are having mussels right there in Fort Pierce. And it even says on my photo memory, January 31st, Fort Pierce. There's the band that plays at that place at night. So yeah, again, there's Poppy watching the band. That's Vero Beach. That's something else. But anyway, it just brings me, I don't know, another level of familiarity, if you will, with this case that makes it heartbreaking. Let's get into the remote viewing now. More heartbreaking. Let me correct that. It's already heartbreaking. It's just certain cases attract us for certain reasons. And it's just, this is pulling on me even more strongly now. I don't know. It's just, let's show you what I found. Okay, let's go to where I found. But first, I want to just remind you of my other vision on the soulmate, because I said this happened on the soulmate before we have evidence that looks like the truth that they were on that boat, that they made it back, given those lights coming off the soulmate that Ashley showed us. And I showed you a while back. But let me just remind you of that. And then we're going to my newest update here. So some of you might remember I was watching Ashley when she first arrived to the Caribbean. This is like a video of 4 weeks ago, and she's traveling around the soulmate, and I'm watching, and all of a sudden I start to feel, as a psychic medium, I get all the clairs and I can feel somebody's, blood in their tasting, or pain in their body, or strangling, in this case. Just want to remind you what went down here when this happened unexpectedly on camera.
It's so eerie being this close to it, actually.
I'm just trying to see if I'm getting any intuitive hits before I jump into my remote viewing. You definitely feel there's energy here. Like I'm actually, as I'm doing this now, I suddenly feel some serious weight in my chest. I wasn't anticipating this. Whoa. Sorry, I wasn't anticipating this. I suddenly feel very heavy in my chest. I don't know what that is about. I'm not sure what that is about. Let's keep watching. Whew. Whew. Like I can't breathe. Sorry. Like I literally, whew, I can't breathe. can't breathe. Whew, sorry. If you're new here, whoa, I volunteer as a psychic medium with the Find Me group. And I get all the clairs and I can feel in my body. Whew, I haven't even started my remote session. Whoa. Hi, sorry. I was absolutely not expecting this. I'm spinning. I'm spinning. I'm spinning. I haven't even tapped into my remote session yet. See if I can get something now, but oh my God. There is something on that boat. Sorry, y'all. I'm literally I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh my God. Oh, sorry. Holy F. I don't know. Whoa. Something's on that boat. Something's on that boat. Something happened. Whoa. Okay. Something's going down on this boat. Remote viewings, clips, and images of flashes of things that go down. And I'm trying to piece it together right now, but I can barely breathe. I have all the clairs. I feel blood. I taste. I see. I hear. I have done some telepathy before and remote viewing and was successful in finding a missing boy before here in Canada. So I'm going to go back to this clip for a second, but man, I got to zero in and do a remote viewing after because I can't effing breathe. There's something, this clip, Ashley, of you right here. There is something, my dear, here on this freaking boat. Yes, I said that before Ashley found the evidence of the gentleman that lives on Hubbard's Island to prove that there were lights going off at Soulmate that night when Brian was supposedly lost in the bay, Marsh Harbor Bay, in the dinghy. And there's a light, like a dinghy flashlight coming up to the boat and then leaving. Yeah. So what did I get today? Wow. 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 Let me play what I got right after I recorded. Let me play it and hope you can hear it. If not, I'll repeat it. No, you can't play it. So I asked again, not to the benefit of my ego. Let me pull up for the map for you where she is. Okay, let me first tell you what I got, and then I'm going to zoom in specifically. So I go in for my remote viewing. I ask, not to the benefit of my ego, show me what I need to see. What specifically did Brian Hooker do with Lynette Hooker? and I note recorded it, and immediately after. But the first impression I've seen was a clearer vision of what I already got, which was like the clip of him taking Lynette off the soulmate, her over his shoulder. I got goosebumps. He's backing down the ladder with his back to the dinghy, and Lynette's body is limp, not moving, but also not frigid. In other words, recently unalived, in my opinion. And he takes her on the dinghy. And so the next thing I had said to you in another remote viewing, that I felt like he had walked her along a long bridge. Well, don't I get the next view I get is a rope from the dinghy attached to the post of a long walking bridge. And then I'm shown a flash of a sailboat on a map. In other words, a well-known destination on a map. And then I start to see, well, let me show you. Then I get this view. You may recognize this because Ashley covered it. Bam, Ashley, you were good. This is the pier in my vision. This is where I see Brian Hooker walking with her body. And if I could find this on the map, I have been looking, but it's abandoned. I might be able to pin exactly the location, but we're going to walk with the gentleman that did this video for Ashley, and I'm going to see what I can find. Let's go watch it now, the full video, and I'm going to tell you what I see as this gentleman's scouring this long lost resort, marina, if you will, because it succumbed to the hurricane years ago and is no longer in operation. But man, I was taken here. I'm going to look and see if I can show you exactly where I believe he walked, because I could feel it. I could see him walking in water. And I'm wondering why he's walking in water as he sees the building. I see the dock. I see him walk towards the abandoned house. I'll show you in a minute. And he goes left and he's walking. I get goosebumps by validation. He's walking in shallow water. I'm like, why is he walking in water? And remember, I couldn't decide if she was in water or buried. Oh boy, because there's a lot of sand where he took her body. And I see him looking on the left. Well, let me walk you through it.
I discovered some things in Lynette Hooker's social media that for days and days I've been trying to track down where these things happened and some locations. And I want to show you a video that Lynette posted. And I can tell you why I know where this video is now and why I think it's significant. Because in a prior episode, I talked to you about if something happened to Lynette, not the way Brian explains it, but maybe something else, maybe even aboard Soulmate, their 46-foot catch, their sailboat that they lived on. If something happened to her, and let's just say she was killed on board Soulmate, and let's just say somebody needed to get rid of the body. I am not suggesting that Brian Hooker did this. I am only trying to figure out where is Lynette, because the way Brian explained it, her body would have turned up in the Sea of Abaco, because it's like a bathtub, or on the shores, or some detritus of her would have. And so if that's not what happened, then what did? And one of my prior episodes gave you an idea of where you could, if one, say, wanted to get rid of a body, could get rid of a body up near Hopetown and the harbor that's sort of on the northern end of Elbow Key. They were anchored off of Elbow Key, and that wouldn't be very hard, just a couple miles up. But we've also discovered another possibility where if someone wanted to get rid of a body and then, say, launch themselves up on Marsh Harbor saying that they had floated for 9 hours with no keys and no oars and all the rest, we found another possibility. And back in Lynette Hooker's social media, she shows an excursion one day that she took with her husband, Brian Hooker, but also her daughter, Carly Aylesworth. And we put the pieces together because we saw originally this photograph of Carly and her mom, Lynette, and Lynette's husband, Brian Hooker. And they've got sort of like some wrecked out docks behind them. Doesn't look like a very nice place. It kind of looks like an abandoned old wretched sort of marina that no one is taking care of. And we've been trying to figure out what is in the backdrop of that picture. And I think we may have put the pieces together with the help of Lynette. Thank you, Lynette. In our effort to find where Lynette may have ended up, because I don't believe Brian's story, that picture of Carly, Lynette, and Steve now accompanies a video that Lynette herself took. And I want you to sort of play along.
She meant Brian, but yeah, keep watching. Keep watching.
Along with me here as we look at Lynette's
video. There is the dock. I see a rope, like the dinghy came in and I see a rope, and then Brian getting out and walking her to shore.
She's got one of those 360 cams where she's holding the selfie stick, but the selfie stick
that was this morning, y'all. Today is Thursday, May 14th.
Disappears because it's awesome technology. And wouldn't you know it, her video actually shows this sort of abandoned, awful marina. And there's a little sign there. I'll get to that in a minute because it tells you what the name of the marina is. You can see the docks are all busted up and broken. It looks,
I can see that sign in a minute.
It looks like it's a century old.
There you go. I see him walking.
You know, the pathway looks nasty and the buildings are all broken down and all the rest. Well, there's a really good reason why the videos that Lynette is taking show such an awful place. It is the result of Hurricane Dorian. And if you remember Hurricane Dorian from 2019, it was a monster. I covered Hurricane Dorian. I was freaking out about Hurricane Dorian because my brother...
I'm trying to find the location and on this video because I cannot find it on the map. I'm trying to locate this place on the map. But I can see here, like when Ashley's showing us, you know, the dock here, and I can see here, I can see he walks up to the building and he goes left. I'm trying to, I wish I could see that now. He goes left. But Ashley says, listen to this.
Beer. I think he's holding a beer. But there are beaches, and beaches are great for coming ashore. Real safe, especially if you're in a dinghy. You can come up on a beach and
I really wanted to find this on the map. I'm going to try to go right now. It's called the Abandoned Snapper Point Marina, but I cannot get to the exact location. Snapper Point, because it was abandoned. Hang on. Snapper's Bar and Grill. But there's a lot of, I see him taking her, like, it's this way. Let me go back, because in this video, okay, here, let's watch this. Okay, so here's the old path.
But this walkway, this pathway seems to be the same pathway that Lynette was able to show us.
Right there. Okay, he goes left onto this pathway. He goes left onto this pathway, and
that had been destroyed
in there.
It's really interesting to see the juxtaposition of Lynette's pictures, and then
God Almighty, I just want to move this forward. Okay, he takes her left. Where is this Mermaid Reef? Let's just listen to Ashley.
Babaco in between. You know, you can see Marsh Harbor. You can see Mermaid Reef, Snappa's Bar and Grill, Jake's Bistro, Ice Cream Parlor.
Okay, I'm going to go to Mermaid Beach. I'm trying to get this up because I see he takes her. There's water. Mermaid Beach. There's like a path, like this Mermaid Beach. There's like a path that, come on. Marsh Harbor. Where is Mermaid Beach? Reef, right there. Let's see if I can get, because there's grass. See, there's grass somewhere there. There is grass. Oh, is this it? Is this the Mermaid Beach Villas? Okay, Here it is. Is this the abandoned place? Oh, wow. Here it is. Okay. Well, there's grass here. I see him going up from the piers. I don't know where that is relative to this. Is this the pier that I saw? I don't feel like it is. Ashley shows us where is the dam dock? Mermaid Reef. I honestly think she's in the grass in here, but there's a place close to the water. There's a place close to the water. I wish I could get an exact point. I'm going to come back and see if I can get on another day an exact location. But I mean, God willing, they would have the dogs out in this location, because I literally see the signs and everything that Ashley was showing us in this video on the ground. Let me just go back. Let me go back.
Not so. It's fascinated because you can get into, you can get into shore. But there are beaches, and beaches are great for coming ashore.
Let me go back. He goes up on the land and he goes left. Look at all the trees. You cannot see all these trees.
Beaches like the one behind Brian
was on the map, but she is definitely in. There's like what I saw. She's definitely, in my opinion, in and around this area, because he goes up to the house along that path, and you can see that path going to the left, and he goes into the bush off the trail, and he keeps walking, and then there's this, like, the water starts to come into the roots of the trees, almost like a mangrove, kind of like a shallow mangrove area. And then I see, like, oh, I got goosebumps, a bunch of the trees that have fallen over, and the roots are up, and there's like a bunch of sand and soil. And I see him digging out a hole, and her body's in there, and covering it up is a bunch of sand and soil. And that's where I believe she is. When I come back at a later date, sorry, I'm tired today, everybody. I've been a little bit all over the place, but I will come back and see if I can get a confirmation on this and get an exact location. Love and light. Thanks for being here.